Hello, everybody, and welcome back after a semi-long hiatus there to Chenzo's Corner. I'm your host, Charlie DiVincenzo, and today I'm going to recap Oklahoma versus Auburn yesterday. Big 24-17 win for the Sooners. First, I just want to apologize for being away for a little while. I was trying to really make those videos every single day, but, being a full-time student, juggling pretty much 2 jobs now, and doing this is a struggle. So I'll post when I can. I'll do my thing there, but I really do enjoy this, so I hope you guys enjoy this one. Let's just get right into it. Big win for the Sooners yesterday. I mean, big. That's 2 ranked wins in 4 weeks, 4-0. You're going to move into the top 10 of the AP poll, which should be coming out any minute now. Maybe they put them out on Mondays. I'm not too sure. But that's besides the point. Should easily move into the top 10, especially with Illinois' big-time loss versus Indiana. What a win yesterday. I know people are going to hate. It wasn't dominating enough. And I've heard the refs now. The refs are the reason we won that game. Okay, we had more penalty yards than them, but I guess that's besides the point. You're going to move into the top 10. In a win like that, people are mad. Like I said, people are mad because it wasn't in dominating fashion. Who cares? Who cares? Those are the type of wins that I think make the great teams. The close games. The games you really don't know. The toss-ups. Every single one of those games that we played last year, we lost. This year, first test, we win. And I think we should have won, obviously, a little bit more handily. That game could have got out of hand early. It was 10-3. We were on the 30-yard line. Mateer and Blaylock kind of get confused on that read option. They fumble it away. That leads to Auburn going on the field and scoring and tying it before halftime. That game could have been 17-3 going into half with us getting the ball. Now, it didn't turn out that way. It wasn't as emphatic of a win as people would have wanted. But like I said, those are the games, those close ones, those really close ones that you really don't know. Are we gonna win? Are we gonna lose? What's the deal here? What are we made of? Mateer said after the game, these type of wins are what makes them boys on the field turn to men. And I think that's a great example of this situation. 10 sacks for the defense. Let's just start with that. 10 sacks? Are you kidding me? Team record, easily. I mean, it really could have been a couple more, too. They had a couple TFLs for 0 yards, they called them. Those, you go back, a foot or two, and that's another sack. You could have been looking at 12, 13 sacks on the day. Now the end total is 10. Our Mason Thomas, game wrecker. Absolute game wrecker. And this is the type of game that elevates him on draft boards. That's a first-round pick, man. I don't care what anybody says. That dude is a problem for offensive lines. He came in at halftime after the targeting call last week. Came in at half, led the team and tied for the lead in solo tackles, 2 sacks, and 2 TFLs. Whew. Come on. That was Jackson Arnold's worst nightmare yesterday. I guess we'll segue right into that situation. Arnold comes back into Norman to heavy boos. I was in the student section, heavy boos, a lot of chants of words I can't repeat on here. They were circling around the stadium all game long. He came in. I think Auburn's offense, I said this to a couple of my buddies during the game yesterday, I think Auburn's offense looked exactly how our offense looked last year. There was glimpses. There was at times you were like, oh wow, we could really have something here. We can move the ball down the field. But at the end of the day, I do think it was a Jackson Arnold problem in Oklahoma, and I think it's going to be a Jackson Arnold problem in Auburn. I don't think he did any. Obviously, he got sacked 10 times, but I don't think he gave the offensive line much help. He was standing in the pocket just really all day. He was unaware, it seemed. He held onto the ball for way too long, and he almost looked lackadaisical. I rewatched the game, and he almost looked lackadaisical in the pocket. The sack in the third quarter that he took from R. Mason Thomas, I mean, he was kind of just sitting there standing still. He wasn't even, you could tell he was looking down the field, but he wasn't even remotely aware that there was pressure. I mean, he heard no footsteps And our Mason Thomas came over the top and almost bear hugged him. It's kind of crazy, but that's what Oklahoma's offense was last year. They had misses down the field. He had Cam Coleman for, I would say, at least 2 or 3 touchdowns. At least. He missed them. The one in the end zone, they switched up the coverage. Cam Coleman should be a first-round pick. That dude's unbelievable. He was toasting Cortland Guillory, and they finally made the change. They put Devin Jordan on him to kind of, get a little bit more length because Guillory was just too small to guard him, quite frankly. His technique wasn't terrible, but he was getting toasted. They put Devon Jordan on him. As soon as he comes into the game, Cam Coleman beat him on a double move by about 15 yards. I mean, he was wide open in the end zone, and Arnold overthrew him. There was another one on their own goal line that if Arnold hit Coleman in stride, it was going to be a touchdown. He made a couple good throws throughout the game, but it was more or less just what you saw last year. It was the same. It doesn't really look like he's taken that step into what he could be. The legs are obviously a threat. That 4th and 11 in the fourth quarter, takes off, does it himself. That's the type of guy that beat Alabama last year. That's the type of guy that was a 5-star recruit. That was the number 1 quarterback in the country on some websites. But it's just not all there yet. And now in your 3rd year as a junior, you start to wonder, is it ever going to be there? The clutch factor definitely isn't. I've yet to see Jackson Arnold lead a game-winning drive or come through in the clutch. There was multiple blunders last year. Ole Miss, they were up double digits at half, blew that game. Missouri, I think they were up 6 with the ball with 2 minutes left, and we still lost. That was a fumble from him last year. Now, I don't want this to turn into a Jackson Arnold rant or a Jackson Arnold little hate fest here because I don't think that's right. I think that's besides the point now that he's on Auburn. I want to credit this defense of Oklahoma more than anything. They stifled the run. They shut down the pass for the most part. There was some trouble there with Coleman. But the defense played excellent. 10 sacks. I mean, what more could you ask? I think they had 7 in the first half. Without our Mason Thomas. That's crazy. Jaden Jackson had 2.5 sacks yesterday. He's going to be so good. He already is so good. He's a sophomore. He can't even come out this year for the draft. If he could, he might be a Vita Vea type first-round pick. I mean, that guy, he's unbelievable. You pair him with David Stone, who's clearly taken the next step in his game. I talked about that in a video previous. If David Stone could kind of take that leap into what he should be, and he has. He was on the board with the sack yesterday, couple TFLs for him. Just seems whenever he's on the field, he's all over the place. Linebackers, Kip Lewis had 10 tackles yesterday, I believe. Great game from him, as always. He always brings the energy, running around the field. People don't notice that when that game goes to timeout, Kip Lewis is the first guy to run around to the student section, get everybody going, get the crowd moving, get the crowd hyped up, get them on their feet. He is the de facto leader of that defense, and he really steps into that role with confidence. Now let's flip things over to the Oklahoma offense. There were some growing pains yesterday. The play calling didn't do him any favors. Arbuckle was a little bit too conservative at times, I felt. The run game hadn't been going all day. For one example, the run game hadn't been going. It was 3rd and 4 on Auburn's 14. You were up 3 at this point. Had a chance to go up 10 and really put the pressure on Arnold. 3rd and 4, and they run a halfback draw to Blaylock up the middle. I mean, I think we had 20 yards rushing on the entire game. Maybe a little less on that. Blaylock was averaging 1 yard, 1.5 yard a carry. They do a draw. Obviously, he gets shut down. I mean, there was just nothing there yesterday, and credit to Auburn's defensive line for that. There was nothing there. Goes to 4th down. They kick the field goal. That's when Auburn actually went down and took the lead 17-16. But besides all of the negative, before I get into all the negative, I want to talk about the positive. That game-winning touchdown drive from Mateer, unbelievable. That is why he is a Heisman frontrunner right now. I mean, that's a guy that didn't do much up to that point. Wasn't really clicking. Nothing was going. When the game's on the line, he comes through. I think he went either 5 for 5 or 6 for 6 on that last drive. That over-the-shoulder throw to Satanga was unbelievable. People want to talk about the refs. Oklahoma had more penalty yardage than Auburn. They had multiple huge plays wiped away. They tried to take away that Satanga catch that I just mentioned. Went to the booth review, got overturned, as it should have been. And Mateer ends up running in the touchdown on that drive. So credit to Mateer. Stuck in it the whole way. Never gave up. Kept going. Dove into that end zone and the crowd went crazy. Oh, they love him. They love him here in Norman. Anybody who was at that game yesterday could tell you that energy was through the roof. Especially on that last drive where Arnold kept getting sacked. Gets this, obviously our Mason sacks him in the end zone, safety. Game over. That was huge. But yeah, offense had some growing pains yesterday. There was a couple misses throughout. I do like what Satania put on the plate for us, though. You didn't really know what you were getting out of him. He was a punt returner who had muffed a couple already to start the year, kind of on the bad side of some of the fans. Hadn't done much in the receiving game. I think he had 7 catches for 140 yards and a score. Yeah, because he had that one play where they kind of deked out the defense and pretended like he was subbing off, and then he ran up the field, score. Quick snap there. Auburn didn't like that one. Hugh Freeze definitely didn't like that one. He had something to say about it in the post-game presser. But all's fair. All's fair. If you're going to try to get some sort of unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on a trick play, then that's just sour grapes, Satania, though, really put a name for himself in this game. And I liked that step. This is the best receiving core I've seen on an Oklahoma team since probably 2019, 2018. I mean, you don't have that number one like you did with Lamb. That surefire number one isn't, it might be Burks, it might be Lewis. They kind of alternate per game. But just in terms of depth, I think this is the deepest room we've had since then. Like I said, the star power might not be there, but between Burks, Lewis, now Satania's in the mix, you get Kanik. Man, that's 4 big-time weapons for Mateer. Kanik's just another guy I'm so impressed with. Made the change from linebacker. 4 catches, 60 yards yesterday. Wasn't his best game, but still leads the nation in almost every statistic for tight ends, aside from scores, receptions, yards per catch. He's in the top 3 in every single one of those categories. I couldn't be happier for him to finally kind of find his feet on the opposite side of the ball, which is pretty cool. You never would have thought it. He was an athlete coming out of high school, completely misdiagnosed as a linebacker. He's really, really making his way as a tight end. And if he keeps playing how he's playing, he might find his way onto an NFL roster. Besides that, ground game's got to get going. Jaden Ott's still nowhere to be found. Jaden Ott, if you're listening to this, what's up? $1.5 million, I believe, to either not play or average 2 carries a game. Yesterday, I don't even think he saw a snap. He is not where they expected him to be at this point in the season. After 4 games here, if you're not going to play at all, you ought to consider taking a red shirt just to get healthy for next season. Because you're surely not going to get drafted if you keep sitting out or keep putting up the performances you are. So, Blaylock has stepped up into that role. He's been a nice receiving back. You'd love to see the ground game going a little bit more, but we'll see. That's pretty much all I got for this video. Just a little quick reaction. I know it's the day after the game. Had have so much stuff going on, like I had mentioned. Great win by the Sooners. I think they vault into the top 10 pretty easily after this week. 4-0. That magic number for me is 5. 7 games left in this season. You win 5 of those games, you're in the playoffs. You get to that 10-win range. You get to that 9 or 10 win range, and you are golden. Obviously, I'm kind of overstepping here and counting this Kent State game in a couple weeks as a win. You're going to go into Texas 5-0. You're going to go into Texas 5-0. 7 games from there, you win 5 of them. You're 10-2. How could they keep you out? And I think that's got the mindset of this team has to be win, 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 win. Obviously, you don't want to say, oh, we have 2 losses to, kind of fall back on, but you win 5 of those games and you're in the playoffs. Every single one of them is going to be a ranked matchup besides South Carolina. They look shaky. You're going to have to walk into that stadium, though, in a very tough environment and win that game. We'll see how it ends up. But right now, my expectations for this team couldn't be any higher. I really think this team's deep enough. The defense is good enough. And if the offense finds its footing just a little bit more, this could be a very, very dangerous team come December. If you go 10-2, you win 5 of the next 7 after Kent State, you might even be looking at an SEC title shot. I mean, this team really has what it takes, and they showed me that with that close win. Those are the SEC games that we've been waiting for. When's the last time we've won a game like that? You got to go back to 2023 UCF, where it was a game you maybe should have lost. You win the game, you hold on. And even that was ugly enough to the point where it was like, we got some problems. Yesterday, I didn't really see the big looming problem over our heads like it might have been at that point. We didn't see that at all last year. Every single close game was a loss. That win is going to be a statement to the selection committee come playoff time. And that win, if you do make a run, that one will be looked at as the turning point. The point where everyone on this team realized, oh, we can win these close games. We don't, even if we don't play our best, we're still good enough to get the win. That's big for the confidence of this team. It's big for the confidence of these fans. And I tell you what, they keep playing how they're playing, and the Oklahoma Sooners may just be back. And one more message to everybody that hopped off the wagon, everybody that doubted this team coming into this week, and everybody that said we were washed during the rebuilding phase. We're here. We're coming. 4-0. Nice little bye week. Be able to watch some stuff. Regather. Tough 4 games here, man. Oh my God. You beat a ranked Michigan. You beat a ranked Auburn. Best Auburn team we've seen in years. You get a nice bye week. Kent State to tune up for Texas. Let's go. Let's get it done. 4-0. Boomer Sooner, baby. Keep it rolling. I'll see you guys in the next one. You've been watching Chenzo's Corner. I'm Charlie DiVincenzo.